All right, so let's get right into it. Today, we're going to try and answer a massive question. What would it actually take to fund a truly fair school system? And maybe more importantly, who pays for it all? We're going to cut through all the jargon, all the huge abstract numbers, and see what this would actually mean for real people living in the real world. You've heard it before, right? Whenever we talk about taxes or public services, the conversation kicks off with something like this: a giant impersonal number that feels totally disconnected from, our actual lives. Or maybe you get a phrase like this one. It sounds very official, very smart, but what does it really mean? What does that mean for the cash in your wallet or the school down your street? And that, right there, is the problem. These kinds of phrases are completely useless if you're just trying to figure out how it all affects you, your family, your neighbors. So let's get to the real heart of the matter. If we were really going to build this dream school system, who foots the bill? And how in the world do we do that in a way that's genuinely fair? That's what we're digging into today. First, let's just wrap our heads around the sheer scale of this idea. We're not talking about a few repairs here or a little extra funding there. No, we're talking about a complete transformation, giving every single kid the kind of education that, right now, is pretty much only for those who can afford a private school. And the price tag for that dream? Well, it is staggering. To make it happen, we'd need to find somewhere between 110 and 130 billion pounds in new money. And not just once, every single year. It's a huge number. So how on earth could you raise that fairly? Well, that brings us to the single most important idea in this entire explainer. To get this, we have to basically redefine what we mean when we say the word fairness. It's not about everybody paying the same. Not at all. So here it is. The whole thing is built on this one principle. Fairness isn't about how many pounds you pay. It's about how much pain you feel. In other words, how much does that contribution actually impact your ability to live a decent life? This idea, well, it's the key to everything. Okay, so to make this real, let's stop talking about billions and start talking about people. We're going to see how this pain-felt idea works by looking at 6 very different households, from the checkout line at the supermarket all the way to the executive boardroom. Let's start with Leanne. She's a single mom, works in retail, makes about $18,500 a year. Her budget is already stretched to the absolute limit. So under this pain-fault system, how much extra does she pay? 0. Not 1 penny. She's already feeling enough financial pain. But her gain? It's massive. A top-quality education for her child. Okay, next up, James and Rena. They're a young couple, combined income of $54,000. No kids, yet. Their contribution would be something like 14 to 20 quid a week. Yeah, it's noticeable, for sure, but it's not going to change their life. And what do they get for it? The guarantee that whenever they do start a family, a fantastic school system is just there for them. A little bit of pain now for a huge gain later. Now let's meet Dave and Priya, a pretty typical middle-income family, 2 kids, a mortgage, the whole thing. Their extra costs would be about 35 to 45 pounds a week. Now that's real money. You definitely feel that. But look what it gets them right away. Smaller classes for their kids and actual support for children with special needs instead of being stuck on a waiting list for a year. It's not a penalty. It's a direct investment in their own family. Okay, now for Sarah. She's a high earner, no kids. Her contribution is a big step up, somewhere between $9,000 and £12,000 a year. But here's the crucial context. That's still less than what many of her peers pay for just one child to go to private school. And she gets a return too, a more stable society, a more productive economy for everyone. All right, now for the case study that I'm sure you've been wondering about, the one everyone assumes will get hit the hardest. Meet the Harrisons. They're high earners, bringing in £310,000 a year. And right now, they're paying for 2 kids in private school. So, under this new model, their extra tax bill would be pretty substantial. We're talking between $25,000 and £35,000 a year. And on its own, that looks like a massive hit. But that's only half the story. Because this is the full picture. At the moment, the Harrisons are paying £40,000 a year in school fees. Under the new plan, they'd stop paying those fees entirely and instead pay that tax bill we just saw, which goes to fund a great system for everyone. So what does that actually mean for their bank account at the end of the year? It means they actually come out ahead. The very family you might expect to lose the most from this plan actually saves up to £15,000 a year. It's a pretty surprising result, right? They get a great education for their kids, help create a fairer country, and end up with more money. So Who carries the heaviest load? It's the top 1%, people with incomes over £450,000 a year, plus significant wealth. Their contribution would be big, anywhere from £50,000 to over £300,000. And the logic is perfectly consistent with that core idea. They contribute the most because, in relative terms, they feel the pain the least. They can absorb that cost without it really changing their lifestyle one bit. So let's just zoom out for a second and look at the big picture. What do these 6 stories, from Leanne to the highest earners, what do they really show us? Well, they paint a picture of what a truly progressive investment in our society could actually look like. And this is what everybody gets. This is the payoff for that shared investment. Smaller classes, safe, modern school buildings, a teaching force that's stable and well paid, real meaningful support for kids with special needs, proper arts and sports. And at the end of the day, a society with more equal opportunity and, in the long run, more prosperity for all of us. So we end up right back where we started, but hopefully with a much clearer picture. When we stop talking about abstract billions and start talking about real households and real lives, a different kind of fairness starts to emerge. One that doesn't ask for equal payment, but for something closer to equal sacrifice. And this is what that kind of fairness looks like.